All right. Hello, everyone. We are back with another episode of the podcast From Hobby to Full Time. And we are on a three-part series kind of called So You Want to Be a Personal Stylist. And we break down the things that you really need to know if you want to become a personal stylist. And we are on part 3. And this is a really fun episode for me to chit chat with you about. And it is called The Only 3 Ways to Grow Your Business as a Personal Stylist. So I have been in the industry for the better part of 10 years, and I am really convinced there are only 3 ways to make more money as a stylist. And let's face it, we all want to make more money. And these are the 3 ways that I believe you can do it. You can raise your prices, you can grow a team, or you can get online. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about each of them because there are pros and cons to all of these, and none of them are a bad option. I don't want you to think that you aren't doing it right if you want to be a solopreneur and create a solid business for yourself that supports you. On the flip side, if you want to get online, I want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons for you and not because it's the latest business trend. Because let me tell you, it is 2020, and I think everybody and their mother has an online course. And that doesn't mean just because you put something online that it's going to be a hit. Also, if you want to grow a team, I don't want you to, what are the cons of growing a team? If you want to grow a team, I want you to grow a team, right? I want you to be confident to hire people and do that. So let's get right into this. The first one, I want to talk about raising your prices, right? So I think that raising your prices is one of the 3 ways, only ways that you're going to be able to grow your business and make more money. So you cannot go around charging $75 or even $100 an hour forever. At some point, you're going to need to raise your prices, if only to represent how long you've been in the industry, all of the experience that you've gained over the years, and even account for, say, like cost of living increases, right? Depending on where you live, you can probably charge anywhere from $150 to $300 an hour. You may be able to package your services from anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. And depending on your ideal client and how you structure your business, you could even do something like you could have some really cool retainer services. So I'm going to talk about that in the pros. But you are going to need to raise your prices, especially if you want to be a solopreneur and you want to support yourself. Oh, I just spit everywhere. That was gross. You want to support yourself, or you want to support a family, and say you don't want to go online. That's not your thing. You want to keep that in-person connection. You don't want to grow a team because you don't want to manage other people, which is fair. I'm going to share with you my experiences there. And so your only option then is to raise your prices because you only have so many hours in the day as a one person working with one-to-one people. Right? And you have to then also keep in mind you have to run a business. So you have to spend a certain amount of time, anywhere from 10 to 20 hours a week, doing administrative tasks, doing your books, doing your social media, doing your marketing, going to meetings, going to networking events. So you're not going to spend a full 40 hours a week with your clients. You're going to spend maybe 20 to 30. So therefore you need to charge appropriately. And then you're going to have to raise prices, right? So let's talk about the pros of just raising your prices. This is going to create a really solid business for yourself. If you want to work for yourself, like I said, you don't want to manage a team, you want to keep all of your money, then raise the prices. And this is a really good option. You can also, as an individual, probably create more varied income streams as a way to increase your income or expand your growth areas. So you could work as a stylist on a photography set. You could work with local magazines, possibly. You could work with boutiques. There are different avenues that you could bring in more money as a stylist as yourself than just necessarily working with one-on-one clients. Something I think that is a really awesome option as an individual, or anyone really, is thinking about retainer clients, like retaining clients for, a month or a year, especially if you are in an area where maybe you have some really rich VIP clients. Just like people hire personal chefs, like sometimes people hire personal stylists, and you could get paid $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year to work with this client. Now, you may be on call, maybe a little crazy, but that is an option, right? And so I think what's really cool about just running your business is you can do what you want. Another pro, you can literally do what you want. If you want to change things up, you want to go a different direction, you can do that, which you could do that in the other ways too, because you're still the boss, right? So let's talk about the cons. The cons of running your business as yourself is that you may reach a cap on what you can charge hourly. So for example, I feel like I kind of reached the cap on what I could charge my individual clients for my signature style development service, working with one-to-one. And that's fine. I'm happy with where that price is. But if I started raising that to say like $3,000, I don't think I would get as many clients. So therefore, I'm limited. Say for example, the price is $2,000. I could take on maybe 5 new clients and make $10,000 a month. And that sounds really awesome, but do the math on that, right? And that means 5 new clients every month. What's 5 times 12? 60? We're gonna go with 60. That's 60 new clients every year. That may be a lot of hustling and that may be really hard to do. So there is a con to being one-on-one and having to continually generate new clients. Obviously you're gonna have to generate new clients all of the time, which is something to think about. And then second, a con to this is that you are limited to the number of people you can serve in a day because of the nature of one-to-one services. When I was at the peak of working with my clients, I think I could see at max 3 clients a day. And that was with appointments being between 2 to 3 hours. So if I'm gonna spend 20 hours a week, then that's however many appointments a week at 2 or 3 hours. But I literally just physically cannot do anymore because I'm not magic and I don't have a clone of myself. So in order to make more money, then you have to raise your prices. So let's talk about, and some people are really uncomfortable with raising prices. I know people that have had the same rate and price for years just because they've never had that conversation, and it's not sustainable, especially if you start off really small and you never raise that, and you do need to charge what you're worth. So that is something else that we get into in the Founders Club and the Biz Bootcamp, is figuring out what the heck to even start to charge, figuring out what the heck you need to live and to thrive, and then gaining the confidence to charge what you're worth within a reasonable ballpark of market rate and value of what you're delivering. So let's talk about the second way to grow your business as a personal stylist. And this is to grow a team, right? So a lot of the things we talked about in raising your prices and being a solopreneur is the fact that you are limited because you're one person and you're doing one-to-one services. So the easiest way to do this is to get people under you. Now, I tried this one out for myself because I wanted to expand Chic Stripes. I wanted to, work with more women, be able to make a bigger impact. And so I hired 2 people. They were really talented. One needed a little more training than the other, but that was fine because I think anybody coming into personal styling, you need training, just like you would train for any other job. But what I quickly found out was that managing people was not particularly what I wanted to do. I didn't just want to do that. I don't have any other reason for you, but I would have never known that if I hadn't tried it. And I think what really honestly appealed to me about this was I really liked the kind of flashy idea of like, ooh, Chic Stripes, I have employees and I'm running this like business. But ultimately, I decided that I didn't want to do it that way. So I do want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons, because there are pros and cons to this. So a few pros. Obviously, when you grow a team, you can reach and serve more clients. You could even also reach clients outside of your immediate location, because you could hire people that work in another city or another state, and they could be a part of your team. A pro is that you will actually grow a team, and I think it's really cool. I respect very much the stylists who have the bandwidth and ability to hire people and to train them and to then trust those people to represent their brand, right? If you hire someone, they are a representative of you, especially because most likely this business started out as you, a very heart-centered, soul-driven, passionate, single entrepreneur, and you want to trust these other people with your brand. Another pro is obviously you can take on more work. You can take on more clients. You can grow. You'll get more revenue because you have more people to deal with and to hit the demand. And then also something that I think is a pro is that you can retire some of the day-to-day out in the field stuff if that's what you want to do. And you can be more on that administrative, like boss. I don't want to say boss but if you do own a company and you have a team, you're hiring the team to do some of that day-to-day so that you can then kind of create that visionary role for yourself and be more on the admin side. And some people really like that, or some people they're tired or a little burned out from being in the field, from cleaning out closets and hauling trash bags around. And it's nice to be able to step into that role for a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the cons from what I can see from growing a team. So I've had 2 people under me for a little while, and they're a lot more expensive and there's a lot more legal stuff. if you add team members. One of the first to consider, and this is not legal advice, but it's from my experience, is that are you hiring these people on as contractors, so independent 1099 freelancers, or are you adding them to as employees to your business? So when you're adding them as employees, how many hours are they working? Are they on a payroll system? So then that means you're paying to pay these people. Are they getting any sort of benefits like health benefits or vision or dental? And then can you afford to do that? Are they contractors? If so, what does your contract then say about them working with you and your proprietary methods? Are they allowed to work with other stylists? So if they're a 1099 contractor, typically they can work for whoever they want. So that's something to take up with your legal advisors and see what you want to do. What makes sense for you in your business. A con can also be that you may spend less time in the field. You may spend less time doing styling if you really love that, because you do have to spend more time doing the admin work on the business. You have to train people. You need to go to their appointments. You need to shadow them. You need to make sure they're representing the brand. And then you have to run payroll, or you have to like cut checks, or you have to do these things, or you have to oversee the people that are doing those things. And finally, a con for me is that you have to oversee people. Sometimes that can mean firing people. That can be sucky. Unless you're a cold-hearted fashion person like the Devil Wears Prada, then you might enjoy that. But for me, I had not quite developed my supervision skills or my conflict resolution skills, and I just was uncomfortable with addressing people that kind of didn't maybe sometimes meet up to my standards. And I'm not saying that happened, but like if that were to happen, I would not have been comfortable doing that. And so to me, that was a sign that I probably shouldn't have tried to grow a team when I tried to grow a team. But those are a few pros and cons. Being a personal stylist, a lot of times you are just in it for yourself. You want a business for yourself. You don't want to grow a team, and sometimes it happens by accident. Sometimes you want to do it really purposefully, and I think both are really awesome options. So the third way to make more money as a personal stylist is to get online. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this one because it seems like these days there are virtual and online services everywhere, right? Everyone has an online course. They're teaching a master class, a webinar, or there's some $2 downloadable PDF or an ebook. I think those are still a thing. So taking your business online can definitely be the way to go if you want some things. It can also be something that you have to think about very strategically. And then there's two different types of being online, right? There is virtual one-on-one that you can do on a computer, so that's still putting you in that one-to-one space, or there's online group programs, which is what a lot of people are drawn to. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the online space from the context of group programs, because I think that's really what we're getting into here. So the pros, obviously, of being able to work online and having virtual services, one-on-one or group, is that you have the freedom to basically work anywhere you want, anytime you want, as long as you have an internet connection. And this is a huge draw for people, especially in the day and age of freelance work. I know, especially for myself, like I really want to be location dependent with the work that I'm doing, and I have taken the majority of my work online in what I'm offering and how I'm working with people. And that is just what I want to do. That's how I want to live my life. I want to travel. I want to be able to go where I want to go. And if I have internet connection, then I want to be able to work there. That's not necessarily going to be the case for everybody. If you have kids, chances are that you're not going to be, traveling a lot. You're going to be pretty stable where you are. But you can still go online. You still have some benefits of that. Another pro to going online is the potential for, I think, what people think is unlimited growth, which it can be unlimited growth. If you have a group offering, then you're able to really leverage exponentially that income that's coming in, because in the time it could take you to do like a 1 hour consultation for somebody or a teaching, you can do that just as much for one person as you can for 10 people. And so you're going to be able to leverage that a little bit. And then sometimes online group work comes in at a lower price point, especially again, if you're leveraging those numbers. And so for some people, they find that really appealing because you can potentially reach more people with what might be a lower price point than your in-person services. Now, I want to make a quick disclaimer here. Just because you may take some of your services online, this could be virtual, one-on-one, or it could be in a group setting, never discount your prices when you're offering a virtual service, right? Just because it's on the computer, that doesn't make what you're doing any less important, because your experience, your expertise yourself, that's not changing just because it's delivered through a computer screen. And I think some people have this idea that virtual is less than, and it is not. So I want to drill that home to you, and I will drill that home every single chance I get, because I teach my stylists that so much. Like, just because it's online doesn't mean it should be cheaper. Because another pro is that you're able to reach with and work with clients around the globe. So when I first started the Founders Club, and now, like, we have a lot of clients from obviously across the United States, since that's where I'm based, but also in Canada. And I work with stylists from Europe, and I think I had a stylist from South Africa. So it's all over the globe, and your personal styling clients can come from all over as well. And that's just really, really fun and really cool. So I do want to talk about some of the cons to an online business, because I think the cons sometimes for this particular one can outweigh the pros if you're not ready for it. So number one, online business can take a lot of time to cultivate and grow, right? Just because you create something and you put it on a website, that does not mean that people are just going to now all of a sudden start buying and money is going to flow to you, right? You have to promote it. You have to talk about it, just like you would about your in-person services. You still have to actively market, send out emails, and say this is how you're working with people. Another con is you may have to also kind of deal with people's like fear of the internet, fear that things virtually are not going to be as good as in person. And there are a high number of clients that want to pay to work in person because they don't want to do something online. Virtually sometimes can be a little more work on the client's end, right? Because if, say, you have a client that lives not in the same city as you, chances are you're probably not going to clean out their closet unless they're going to pay to fly you out there. So they're going to have to do that. So there is a little more work on that client's end, and that can be a con that you might have to overcome. If you don't like managing people, this is another con for you. You're going to have to learn to like it and delegate, because when you have an online business, you have to have a team. You have to have some support somehow, because there's so many aspects to running an online business that you will only be able to do so much. So you're going to have to hire a team, and you're going to have to delegate, and you're going to have to get over being perfectionist and doing everything yourself. So another con is that there are a lot of aspects to running an online business. I don't think anybody really understands like how much time you spend in front of a computer and how many steps there are to do an online business. So for example, when I've created style courses, business courses, I've done like newsletter workshops, Instagram workshops, and I have an online membership now. And when I tell you that sometimes I feel like I just spend all day long writing, it's because I've just been writing all day long. There are website pages to promote the product. You have to write abandoned cart emails, welcome emails, automation emails, course material, monthly emails, posts, And so, for example, when I set up the Founders Club, which is open now, I had to write the page to promote it. And then I had to go to my other software to create the checkout buttons for 3 products. And there I had to write my automation if they abandoned cart email. Then I had to write the welcome email for when they join. And then I had to like do 2 different steps there and write those emails. And then I had to go back and connect those to the page. And then, you know, there's just all of these little tiny steps that you don't even think about. Think about if you want to have like a free Facebook group challenge or something like that for clients, you have to create the Facebook group. You have to write the description. You have to write or create the image for the group. You have to moderate the member questions if it's a private group. And there's just so many steps that it can be a lot, and it can be overwhelming, and it's a lot of technical work. So that is also another con, or could be a con, is that it's a lot of techie stuff. You're on the computer, you're dealing with different programs that you may be using to run your programs. You're dealing with video, and you're dealing with tech, and all of these things can also be really slow or not work. So you gotta have a lot of patience. And then finally, a con for taking your business online is it is a lot of upfront work. You don't make a lot of money in the beginning when you start, but there is the potential to be a lot less work later and a lot more money as you grow and snowball. So 3 ways to make more money as a personal stylist, I believe, come from only 3 areas. It is 1, to raise your prices, 2, to grow a team, or 3, take it online. There are pros and cons to each of these, and I have done all of the above. And I have my own personal pros and cons. And for me personally, I've landed on taking my business online for a lot of different reasons, because I want to be location independent. I want to have the ability to, for me, it's a con, or a pro, excuse me. I want to grow a team to work with me on my online business so that I can help and reach more stylists from around the globe. So those are my driving factors for how I chose the type of business I wanted to do. I do also a little bit, kind of a sub thing that we sort of talked about under raise your prices, is expanding into different areas. So I do have different income streams, different projects that I'll work on or take on, but I definitely have raised my prices too, because if I'm spending my time doing one-on-one work, I want that price to be worth it for me. So I would love to hear from you all, your thoughts on this episode. What are the ways that you are trying to grow your business as a personal stylist? How are you trying to make more money? And if you see yourself falling in one or a combination of these categories, I would love to hear from you. So hit me up on Chic Stripes, on Instagram at Chic Stripes, or on the podcast website. It is chicstripes.com/podcast. You can send me an email, and I would love to hear from you on this topic. All right, we are here and we are up for listener questions. So this is a really awesome practical question that came from jf.stylecoach on Instagram. Thank you so much for shooting me a question. She asks, what is a good online platform for sharing files or photos of outfits or clothing pieces with clients? So this is great. And I will say I know 4 different methods that 4 different resources that I'm gonna share with you. And I'm gonna talk to you about my experience with each and some little recommendations and maybe what they are useful for. So I will say I knew about the first program. It's called Hue and Stripe, H-U-E and Stripe, like a stripe on a shirt, is probably like the largest and most well-known platform that I'm familiar with. And I had a call probably with the founder like a year before I started using it, because I was very just used to doing my process with my in-person clients. It wasn't really until I started to take my business more online that I really valued and signed up for this platform. So Hue and Stripe is, honestly, it's really great. It is one of the pricier options, but it's really easy to use. So basically the way it works is that you have your business portal platform. You upload your clients in there. You can have a questionnaire. You can put a photo. You can build out your client profile. You can invoice your clients directly from Hue and Stripe as well. They use Stripe, the processing app. So that's kind of nice. It's like all in one there. And then the ways that you can interact and do things with clients is that you can shop. So you can shop pretty much anywhere online and put it into basically a catalog that your clients can shop from. You get a commission for all of the pieces that they purchase. So this worked really awesome for me when I was working with clients that had higher budgets and who were regularly shopping at, say, Shop Bob, or buying a lot of stuff from Nordstrom or Saks or higher end retailers, because they're dropping a couple $1,000, and then you get a commission on that based on the retailer and the relationship they have with Hue and Stripe. Another really awesome feature is the ability to create outfits from there. So it's kind of like a drag and drop system, where if you upload individual pieces of clothes, which you can do this either by taking pictures of the client's actual items, uploading it to their closet, oh, excuse me, or you can clip images from online. So it's kind of a cleaner photo that way. And then you basically just say, oh, I want these pants, plop it in here, this purse, these shoes, and you can make outfits for your clients, and then they can look at that and then they can reference it. And your clients also have access to their own side of the app so that they can see your shopping recommendations, and then they can see the outfits you made for them. So I don't use this actively myself right now, just because I'm not working as much with clients in that capacity, but I really enjoyed it when I did use it. And if you want to do a call with them, the founder, Craig, is really awesome. He will jump on the phone with you. He'll walk you through it. Just let him know that Sydney from Beyond and the Founders Club sent you. I do get commission, which is great when you join, but I have sent a lot of stylists over there and they really enjoy using that platform. Another platform is called Good Pix, P-I-X, I believe. It was formerly called Pixavo, and several stylists in the Founders Club have actually switched out of Hue and Stripe and have gone to this one because it does have a slightly lower monthly price. I did talk to them as well back when they were Pixavo, and I didn't necessarily think, this may have changed a lot because I haven't looked at it, but I didn't think it was intuitive or had all of kind of the features that I enjoyed from Hue and Stripe, but it also sounds like they have been listening to stylist feedback and making tweaks to make this platform work better and well. So I would check them out. The third is Garmentier. This is a much newer way. The founder reached out to me, I guess, late in 2019 to schedule a call, and I just haven't been able to get that on my calendar yet. But it seems like it's a similar method and process, and one just being able to like make shopping recommendations, possibly share outfits, I'm not sure. But there, I think, distinguishing factor is you can use them to make custom clothing. So I'm not really sure how that piece works out, but that's something you could look into to see if it's a good fit for your business. And then finally, I'm gonna share with you Google Drive. So I have used Google Drive. I used Google Drive a lot before Hue and Stripe and then after Hue and Stripe. And it's a little bit old school. You gotta have clients that maybe are a little more technical savvy. They know how to maneuver it, but it works. So in Google Drive, you could upload. So the thing about Google Drive is that it's gonna be a little more static, and that, right, you might have to have, it's gonna be a lot harder to make outfits. You may have to make your outfits on your own and upload them into a document or like a PowerPoint. I do know some stylists as well that make physical hard lookbooks for their clients, and they do them in something like Shutterfly or Snapfish, and then the client gets an actual book. That is responsible on you, the stylist, to create the outfits and then take photos of them in your in-person appointments. So that's a little more in-person than virtual. But those are 4 really awesome platforms that you can use. Just to recap, they are Hue and Stripe, Good Pix, formerly Pixavo, Garmentier, I'm going to spell that, it's Garmentier, and then Google Drive. So if you give any one of those a try, let me know how it's working for you. I would love to have feedback. I'm always trying to stay on the cutting edge of what's available for stylists and to give you guys really good recommendations and feedback on things that are going to work for you. So that is it. We are a wrap for this week on the From Hobby to Full-Time podcast. If you would like to find me, and chat me up, you can hit me up on @ChicStripes over on Instagram. All of the podcast things, show notes and links if there's any resources and downloads is over at chicstripes.com/podcast. And there's actually a link where if you have a question and you want to have your question read and answered on the podcast in our listener queues section, you can drop it to me there. You can also DM it to me. And I think that's it. So yeah, we are going to start I think next week, another series, which is going to be awesome. I want to talk about the mindset of successful entrepreneurs. So you got to have a good one if you're going to work for yourself as a personal stylist. So we're going to get all into that, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about the woo side of things. We've done a lot of practical stuff on the podcast so far, and talking about the woo has been really personally transformative for myself and my business, and we're going to go there. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up because it's getting real dark outside. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry because this video is real grainy. All right. Bye, y'all.